National Dyslexia Week, and there are calls for the government to increase support and assessments for students with the condition. And of course, with the coronavirus pandemic leading to more homeschooling, it's been revealed that 95% of parents don't feel that they have the skills to support their dyslexic child at home. Joining me now is Mollie King from the Saturdays, who's also an ambassador and spokesperson for the British Dyslexia Association. Mollie, lovely to have you on the programme this morning. Just tell us a little bit about your own story. When did you kind of realise that you had dyslexia, and how did that make you feel?
Oh, well, thank you for having me on. I actually realised I had dyslexia. I had an assessment at about age 10. So I definitely feel like one of the lucky ones, because assessments are really difficult to get now. They're really expensive. And I got one and straight away knew that I was dyslexic and could then move forward with knowing, different techniques that would help me in school and in later life. So I knew quite early on. I found reading quite daunting and quite scary in front of my classmates. And when we would do things like English comprehension, I wouldn't have even started writing before they'd say, right, pens down, everybody. So I realised quite early on that my reading was quite behind.
For those who don't know very much about the condition, I mean, how manageable is it? I mean, are you on a spectrum of just how severely dyslexia can affect you?
Well, dyslexia, there are so many positives as well as challenges. It's a learning difference, which means that we process information differently. So there are lots of different things. It could be your reading, it could be your writing, it could be your maths. There are things how it varies, basically. It varies in lots of different ways. For me, it's definitely been my reading that I found difficult. But as I said, there are so many positives with being dyslexic as well. It means that you generally are quite creative, you're very empathetic, hopefully quite good at communication. So there are skills that are great with being dyslexic, but obviously there are a lot of challenges that come with it as well.
Indeed, and as we mentioned in the introduction there, of course, we're in the middle of this pandemic. Plenty of children have had to spend much more time at home. Homeschooling, frankly, a reality for many, many people. What would your advice be to the parents of a child who has dyslexia in terms of how they can best help them if, God forbid, we have to head back into lockdown again?
Do you know what? It's so difficult, and I have so much respect and admiration for everyone who's going through this right now. For me, my parents and my family was such a huge help. My mum especially would sit down with me every night and help me with homework, just in terms of reading things with me, because the reading would just take me hours. And I think, it's so hard for parents at the moment. There's so much going on. But if you can sit down with your child and just help them with homework and with studies, I think that's a huge thing. And also just be there for them, because I think a lot of people, what I've learned this week is that a lot of people who are dyslexic haven't told somebody. They haven't told maybe friends in their class or people around them. So to just be that person that they can speak to and trust and, talk to about their worries is such a huge support.
Mollie, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for joining us in the programme this morning.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Time now for 50 States.